Hey everyone, welcome back to my another video. So in this video I'm just gonna share you how I usually approach my model through sculpting and of course in Blender. As you guys can see that I'm using the Blender 2.78 here, which is I believe it's a latest version of Blender. And of course in the default scene we have three different objects, which is the camera and light. So I'm just gonna get rid of them. And we have a default cube here. I'm gonna start with this. So just press the Ctrl 5 to get the 5 subdivision level, and then I apply, and then I press the N button to open the transform menu, and then go to the display, and I just turn off the grid floor and of course the X and Y axis. And then after that I'm just gonna go to the quick preference here. This is actually an add-on, so we just put the link below so you guys can download it. This add-on was created by Scene Olson. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. You can change your mask, shader or color. I prefer use this because it makes me easier to sculpting, because I can see the where's the light come and where the shadow, you know. Let me make the 3D view a little bit bigger. Alright, and you can start sculpting. So just change the object from the object mode to the sculpt mode, of course. And then I usually use the dye topo. So the dye topo is really powerful in Blender. You can, for example, if you don't use the dye topo, especially for a default object, you can always see the quad for every polygon that you have on your default object. But if you use the dye topo, it will change all quads to triangles. So we just turn on the dye topo here. Now you guys can see every quads turn into triangles, which is good. That's what the dye topo does. Now I usually use a subdivide collapse because it's pretty easy for me to control how much detail that I want on some specific area on my mask. So as you guys can see that if I sculpt really close, it will give me like so detailed, but if I zoom out and I start sculpting, it will collapse every polygon on that area that I just sculpted. So sometimes it's really powerful, because if, for example, if I want to get rid some polygons on some area, I just need to zoom out and then sculpt it. And then also, I'm not gonna use a weird brush. I'm just gonna use the default brushes that Blender have here. So the brush that I usually use when I'm sculpting is a snake hook brush. The snake hook brush is almost same as a grab. The difference is if you use a grab brush, let me change to the wireframe mode. And if you use the grab brush, you can see that the polygon is stretching very much. The difference is with the snake hook brush, it will extend the polygon, depends on how long you drag your mouse. In here I just make a basic shape. It's not really fancy because the basic shape is really important, especially when you do sculpting. And of course I'm doing the sculpting in dye topo, that's why I have a lot of freedom to do some exploration to the model. And again I use the smooth brush. The shortcut is to holding the shift on your keyboard. So after I grab or I use the snake hook brush, I just use the shift brush to smooth the area. I use the smooth brush pretty much. And now you guys can see that I'm still working on a very low density of the polygon. It makes me more easier to change the shape, of course. And as you guys can see, I'm working on the orthographic view. And if you want to change from the orthographic view to the perspective view, you can just press numpad 5 on your keyboard, but I prefer to work on the orthographic view. Now I use the clay strip brush. If I hold Control on my keyboard, it will subtract. As you guys can see, it's subtracting. And I press the F button to change the size of the brush. As you guys can see, I can easily change the brush only pressing the F, and then you can drag your mouse. Now I start with the eye socket here. This is still in the blocking stage. As you guys can see, I'm just using 2 brushes with the clay strips and some smooth brush while I'm holding Shift. And now for the mask brush, I press the M button on the keyboard and then I just mask the area. And to invert it, I just press Ctrl I, and then you guys can see that now the mask is inverted. And then I use the grab brush. The shortcut for the grab brush is the G. Now we have a roughly nose. Now you guys can see that the polygon is really stretching because I just used the grab brush. To add more polygons, I just change the brush to the clay strips, or you guys can press the number 3 on your keyboard. Now this is why I mentioned about the simplified collapse, because it's really helpful sometimes. It will depends on how close your view on your 3D model. So here I'm just blocking out the nose. I prefer clay strips because it's more stronger than clay brush. It makes me more easier to see what I'm doing. Now as you guys can see, I'm getting more dense on the nose area because of the subdivided collapse. That's why I suggest you guys to use the subdivided collapse, because it depends on how far your view on your 3D model when you're doing sculpting. The more closer you are, the more detail you will have. And then after that, I decide to make another object, which is the eyeball. So I just go up from the sculpt mode to object mode, and then I just press Shift A, add a mesh and a UV sphere. Now with the UV sphere selected, I just press Tab on my keyboard to change it to the edit mode, and then I just scale it. Before I scale it, I of course rotate it 90 degrees, and I just position the eyeball to the eye socket roughly, because without the eyeball it sometimes makes me confused how big the eye socket will be. Something like this should be fine, because I always can change later. And after that, I just add a subdivision surface modifier and I change it to level 2. And then I need a loop cut, which is I can done with the Ctrl R. After that, I just move the loop back a little bit, and from here now I can see the eye pupil for this eyeball. It's just to help me to visualize where's the eyeball will be. And then of course after that, I just add a mirror modifier, and in the mirror object I choose the cube. So for more easier to recognize, I just change the cube name to head and the sphere to the eyeballs. And let's go back to the head. Now from here I can start to create the eye socket. Again, I use the clay strips brush. Holding the control, I can subtract. Without holding control, I can add, so really basic. When I'm doing this, I have my reference on my other monitor, because every time I do modeling or sculpting, I always use reference. Yeah, reference is really important, guys, so use reference. Now as you guys can see, when I'm very far from the object, I can collapse the polygon. Now with the clay strips and some smooth brush, I just make the cheek over here. And then I use a grip brush to make the eyebrow a little bit lower. And I select the eyeball from the outliner, and I move it a little bit upper. I go back to the head and start sculpting again. So the brush that I usually use is really simple. It's like G for grab brush and number 3 on your keyboard for clay strips. Sometimes I holding shift to smooth brush. And now you can see I just smooth the cheek. And sometimes when I feel the cheeks a little bit thin, I just make it thicker with a clay strips brush. And now I make the head a little bit thicker than before. And again, guys, this is still in the blockout stage, so I don't really care about the detail yet. Just need the basic shapes there. At this stage, I usually take my time, so I don't rushing. Now you guys can see I'm using the grab brush to move some area. And of course, when you're doing the sculpting, you need to zoom out sometimes just to see overall shape. Now I just move the eye socket a little bit. Let me make the forehead a little bit thicker, so I just sculpt the forehead while adding the polygon at the same time. And now I use the smooth brush with holding shift on the keyboard. And now I move to the mouth area. And in here you can see I'm holding control to make a hole on the mouth area. And I change the brush size with the F. Roughly. And again, you can change your strength, your brush strength with the Shift F. Now I smooth some area a little bit. Now I use the grab brush just to make the corner for the mouth a little bit extreme. Now you guys can see when I need more polygon, I just need to change the brush to the clay strips, because there are some brushes that cannot subdivide the polygon when the dynamo is activated, which is the rotate brush, smooth brush, mask brush, thumb brush, and layer brush. Now here I just refine some area. And again I use the smooth brush to smooth the area. And now I decide to make the jaw a little bit forward. I just need to use the grab brush, and of course on the cheek area. And again guys, if you doing some sculpting or modeling, I suggest you use a reference. So I just use the move brush here to make some area a little bit more wider. And now I just move out from the sculpt mode to the object mode because I need to add more object. Then I just added a cube, and then I just go back to sculpt mode. Then I rename the cube to ear. Now we have a cube, and then after that I turn on the dynamo, and of course the symmetry of course need to be turned off, because if turn on, whatever you done, it will be symmetry to the other side. So now I can just move, well actually I just need to change the brush from the grab brush to snake hook brush, because it will change the polygon based on your distance. Now I really roughly just move this to the side and position it next to the head. As you guys can see that I'm still working with a really low density of the polygon, because yeah, as you guys can see, it's really easy for me to change the shape. And of course I use the smooth brush to smooth some area. And I just carefully placing the ear next to the head. Now this is only the side, right? So I just need to mirror it. But before that I just go out from sculpt mode to object mode, and I just add a mirror modifier and then apply. Now I jump back to the head. Oops, I think I forgot to turn on the mirror in the sculpt mode, so I just turn back the symmetry or lock, X mirror on, and now I go back to sculpt the head. Now as you guys can see, I'm still refining the eye socket, and of course with the same brush, just a clay strip brush, smooth brush, the grab brush. Now I'm really carefully moving some area. Now here I just made an eyebrow for the head. The eyebrow should be a little bit lower, because the head is not a default expression, so that's why I need to move the eyebrow a little bit lower. And I use the smooth brush to smooth the eye back. As you guys can see, I'm still adding some polygons on some area and smooth them out. Now to make it more interesting, I just turn off the symmetry for the x-axis, and I just move the corner for the mouth a little bit extreme with the move brush. So really extreme there. you guys can see that some area have a polygon stretching. It's fine because later on I can just use the clay strips to collapse or to add more polygons on those area. Right now just roughly make the shape for the mouth. Now you guys can see the expressions is a little bit scary, but don't worry, I try to make it more silly. Now you guys can see I'm using the clay strips to add more polygons and smooth them out. And I make some area more thicker. Again, when you're doing the sculpting, you need to see your model from a very distance just to see the overall shape, because if you keep doing it on the close-up, when you zoom out it won't work. So right now I'm just make some area more interesting. Tweak some area with a grab brush, of course. And now I need to turn off the symmetry mirror because I don't want to be symmetry, so I just need to turn it off. And then again I'll smooth it and use a clay strips brush to make the mouth wider in the inside. Again, if you're doing sculpting when the dynamo turn on, just just don't be scared to explore, because yeah, just take your time. And now you guys can see I'm adding some polygons on the jaw with the clay strips, and when I do the clay strips I just sculpt it and smooth it with a smooth brush. Now for the mouth, just need to tweak some a little bit. Now I just need to turn on the mirror because the upper head, they have a symmetry eye socket. And now I just make the eye socket a little bit wider on the bottom part. And again, this is, I can spend like 30 minutes just for blocking out, so just take your time. Now I decided to make the eyebrow a little bit lower than before, and after that I just go jump from the sculpt mode to object mode and add the cube. And again I jump to sculpt mode and turn on the dynamo, and of course I use the snake hook brush to change the shape from the default cube. This will be the teeth. So I just roughly change the shape and smooth brush. Now I need to make the fang. And again, this is a very rough, but at this time I really don't care about the detailing because I just need a visual what it will look like. And again, I don't forget to change the name from the default cube to teeth. And from the outliner you can actually turn it off. I mean, turn off some object just pressing the eye icon. And now I just really roughly use the snake hook brush again to make the shape a little bit right. And then I use the smooth brush to smooth some area. Now I'm gonna use the scrap or pix brush. Well, basically the scrap or pix brush is almost the same as a flatten brush, but I prefer to use this brush because I don't know, it feels more strong. And after that I just need to turn on every object. Just make the fang a little bit longer. And now I use the smooth brush. Then I use the gray brush to make the teeth a little bit not really wide. And then I jump to the head and go back to the sculpt mode, and I just need to hide another fang with moving the corner for the mouth. Just make it more extreme. And now I just go back to the object mode, and now I need to add a tongue. So it's the same deal. I just add a cube, and then I just need to scale the cube in the edit mode by pressing tab on your keyboard. And now I just position it because this is more easier than you go jump to the sculpt mode and use the snake hook brush. And again, make sure the Dyntopo is turned on and use the snake hook brush. And I just to make sure the mirror symmetry is turned off. I just use the snake hook brush to position the tongue and smooth brush. Now I need to make the tongue a little bit out from the mouth. I just realized that the fang is a little bit longer, but I will just make it more short after this. Again, I usually sculpt in very low dens because it makes me more easy to change the shape while I'm on the Dyntopo. Now I just need to rename this to the tongue, and I just need to go back to the teeth, and I don't forget to turn on the mirror because they have two fangs. Now you guys can see that the fangs is really thin because I use the smooth too much. Now I need to change the brush to the inflate brush. So the inflate brush is a brush that can make some area like this become more thick. So it depends on how far your view. So for me it should be fine. And then I just go back to the clay strip brush and refine some shape for the fang. Now you guys can see I have a very thin on the tip, so just use the gray brush to make it more longer. Now I have to turn off the everything just to see the teeth more clearly. Now, as usual, I just block out the teeth. Doesn't need to be very detailed, just to help me, just to help my brain to recognize the teeth. Now I use the gray brush. And clay strips to refine some shape. Now you guys can see that we have different from the left and the right fangs. So I want to fix that. To fix it is really simple. You can see the symmetrize there, and you can see the minus x to plus x, which is the minus x is on the left and the plus x is on the right. So I want the right side same as the left side. And after that I just need to press the symmetrize. There you go. Now I need to turn everything back on. Now as you guys can see, I almost have everything, like teeth, the eyeballs, the ears, the tongue. Now I just need to refine some shape here. I use the gray brush and I use the smooth brush again, and I just realized that the mirror is active, so I need to turn it off. Now I really carefully move some area. And after that I just use the smooth brush to smooth everything. Now for the jaw, I need to turn on the mirror, and I need to add some polygons on the jaw. So I just use the clay strip brush and smooth them up. I need to turn off the mirror again because I need to refine the mouth here, or the lips. To add more polygons. And now I go to the nose area here, and again the nose is still basic, which is right now I don't have the nostrils for the nose, and I'm just adding some polygons with the clay strips and make some area a little bit more thicker. So now you guys can see I use the smooth brush by holding shift. So yeah, it's really simple. The brush that I usually use is just clay strips and smooth. And sometimes if I need to change the shape, I go with the move brush or the snake hook brush. And right now I think I adding the nostrils. As you guys can see, and still using the clay strips with holding the control to subtract. And after that I can use the smooth brush to smooth the area. Yeah, actually it's really basic. It's just repetitive. It feels like repetitive, but it's a process. So I use the gray brush to move the nose a little bit forward and a little bit thicker than before. And now I decide to move some area a little bit backward. With the gray brush. Now I jump to the eyeball and I decide to move it backward as well. Alright, it's getting there, but I feel like the mouth is a little bit off, so I need to go back here. Go back to the mouth and tweak some area. Yeah, I'm still using the clay strips. Now I change it to the crease brush and do some detailing on the cheek. You guys can see the crease brush is really strong compared to the draw brush or the default brush. Now I need to turn on the mirror because I need to sculpt the nose area with a crease brush. And after that I just smooth the nose, the tip of the nose a little bit. With the gray brush I just tweak the nose. Yeah, right now I'm using the gray brush. So yeah, so I usually use the three basic brush, which is the gray brush, the clay strips brush, and the smooth brush. So now I'm gonna add the hair, so I'm just gonna jump to the object mode and I'm gonna add another object, which is the cube, and then I just jump to the sculpt mode and I'm not forget to change the name from the cube to hair. And then I activate the dinosaur bar, and of course with a snake hook brush just need to I need to turn on the symmetry. And now the snake hook brush activate, I just change the shape of the cube, and it's really roughly position it and smooth it, place it on top of the head. Because it's the same process as before, I will speed up the video a little bit. now I just go back to the ear, and as usual I use the clay strips. Sorry, I use a clay strips brush, and you know, just make the ears a little bit more interesting. And use the smooth brush by holding the shift on your keyboard. Alright, and then I just zoom out, and now as you can see it, I forgot to turn on the X mirror, so I just jump to the object mode and select the other side of the ear. Just make sure this one is unactive, so I can select behind, I can select the vertex behind, and then just delete it, and then add the modifier mirror. So I just jump to the sculpt mode and turn on the X mirror. So now I can sculpt both at the same time. So I'm just tweaking the shape for the ear here, and then just jump to the hair. Decide to tweak some area for the hair, like this. Now let me zoom out a little bit to see the overall looks. And now just jump to the ear again and do some smoothing there. And I decide to go to the head now to move some area here. This is for the neck. Now I'm beginning to extrude the neck for the head, so I just make the jaw a little bit more forward. Then I go with this mask brush here, so just mask the back of the head, and after that I just go to the snake hook and Ctrl I to invert the mask and just grab it from there like this. Should be fine, I guess, because this is still rough. So yeah, it's just fine, because later on I just smooth the neck a little bit. There you go. Now you see that I mask the jaw area, so I will not affect it if I change the shape for the neck. Yeah, it's kind of tricky sometimes, but after that I just use the smooth brush to make the neck more rounded. And again, yeah, sculpting with the Diatopo turn on is really interesting, because you can always explore the shape without worry about the topology, of course. For example, if you start with a cube or some base mesh and you didn't use the Diatopo, it will be sometimes really hard for you to sculpt on top of that mesh, because if you, for example, you want to extend or changing the shape for your model, the polygon on the model will be stretching. So yeah, so I suggest you to use the Diatopo, because sometimes if you still blocking out and you're not sure about the final shape, just use the Diatopo, man. And after that you can, it's up to you. If you want to make a fine shape of your model, you can retopo and make a base mesh of it and start sculpt from there. So as you guys can see, I use the default cube and turn on the Diatopo and start sculpt from there using the snake hook brush again. I'm making the body right now. And yeah, just use the smooth brush. It's really basic, I guess. And from here I will speed up the video again. So I'm done with the body blockout, so I just go out from the sculpt mode to object mode, and now I want to make a color, so I decide to make the color from a plane. So I just add a plane and add a loop cut and delete the other side. Now it's very simple, just adding a loop cut with the Ctrl R. Move the vertex and move the vertex a little bit backward. Yeah, that's what I mean. So and then I just add another loop cut here. Like so. And after that I just add a mirror modifier, and of course you guys can see the middle is like there's a gap there, so I just turn on the clipping and move the vertices on the middle. And after that I use the solidify modifier and subdivision surface. So the solidify modifier should be on top of the subdivision surface. And after that I just use I just add another loop cut to make the edge more sharp. And then roughly just move the vertices around to make it more interesting. And now I feels like the solidify is a little bit thick, so I'm just gonna make it a little bit thinner. And after that I just apply it. Now I just go back to the body and use the clay strip brush to make it the polygon more dense. Now you guys can see the detail size is 12. And now I feel like the polygon is not dense enough, so I change it the relative detail to the constant detail, and I change the detail size to 5. And after that I just click the detail fluid fill, so it will make the model have a same dense of polygon with 5%. And after that I just use the smooth brush to make the model looks smoother. Of course with the shift on your keyboard to make it smooth with the brush, the smooth brush I mean. Now you guys can see it's more smoother than before. So I turn off every object because I can't see the inside of the model. Now you guys can see this is a weird thing. I just need to, well, let's see if I can. No, it cannot. So yes, sometimes I forget, so I just go to the edit mode with the tab and just delete those vertices or polygons. And I need to turn on everything, and you guys can see the model is almost there, so just need to tweak some part a little bit. and I go jump to the color and choose the and before I jump to the sculpt mode, I just apply the subdivision surface modifier, and again I jump to the sculpt mode and try to tweak some part. You just use the grab brush so the back of the head is not overlapping with the color. That's what I mean. Alright, now I will tweak the color a little bit, so I smooth some bending there. Just go jump to the head now, and it feels like the head is a little bit off from the reference picture that I have, so I decide to tweak some more on the face. So as you guys can see, the detail is not really dense, so I just use the detail fluid fill with the constant detail, and the detail size is 3%. And after that I just jump to the sculpt mode and turn off the symmetry X, because right now I'm tweaking the cheek area and the jaw and the neck. So just use the smooth brush here, and again I haven't go to detail on the face, for example like for the eye socket or the eye bag, still really basic there. So later on I will go there and tweak some more, and right now just smooth every shape around the head and the nose as well. Let's smooth this. Now you guys can see the model is a little bit cleaner than before, because right now we have enough density of polygon to tweak. So now I just move to the mouth area, because I feel really unhappy with the shape of the mouth, so I decide to tweak. Then use the smooth brush, smooth this. Now again I usually rotate my model to see if everything is correct. That's why I use the add-on, I mean the quick preference add-on, to see the shader of the model. Now I decide to add more detail on the eye socket, so I just add some detail here with a clay strips brush, and then I use the smooth brush and use the grab brush and move some area a little bit. It's about like this. Alright, so I decide to tweak the nose a little bit on the tip of the nose, and now I turn off the symmetry X and add the crease brush on his right cheek. So there I was changing the brush strength by Shift F and just smooth, and after that just smooth with the smooth brush. And again I go to the mouth area and tweak some area over here. So right now it's just tweaking, the matter of tweaking. So yeah, because almost everything is there, so right now I'm just tweak As I said before, I can like spend my 20 minutes or 30 minutes just to tweak. If I see the shape is already there, I just go back there and tweak the shape or the model. So right now you can see I go to the teeth. The density of the polygon is quite the same if I use the 2% because it's quite small compared to the head. So I just use the relative detail with a simplified collapse, because with that I can add more polygons if I zoom in, or decrease the polygon if I zoom out, something like this. So it's still basic. I just use the clay strips, and then I use the smooth brush, and sometimes I use the grab brush. And now you guys can see I have a very thin on the tip, so I use the inflate brush to make it more thicker than before. And use the grab brush and smooth like this. So now I just smooth the teeth. Now I change the brush to crease brush, just to make the shape for the teeth more recognizable. And again, it's very roughly, because I know in the end I can use the pinch brush. Now I use the clay brush to make the teeth a little bit thicker than before. So I use the crease as well for the side of the teeth. And now I use the pinch brush, and before I use the pinch brush I want to turn off the dye topo, because I realized that the pinch brush works really well with the dye topo turn off, because it won't add or decrease the polygon. Just pinch the crease that I made before, or something like this. And now let's see every object. No, actually just for the head. Yeah, it's quite good. It's quite okay from this distance. So I'm not gonna go more detail on it. And also you have to be really smart to put the details on your model, because right now I don't want to put every details on the teeth, because I already know that my final image will be in the still image, of course, and it won't show the inside of the teeth. So I'm not gonna sculpt this teeth more on the inner part. So I think from this distance should be fine, I guess. I just jump to the head and tweak some area a little bit, and again I turn off the symmetry X. Now let me turn on again, because I want to tweak some part on the eyebrow. I want to make it more thicker than before, and then smooth the eyebrow a little bit. And now I just use the crease brush here to make the eyebrow a little bit stand out. Now let's zoom out a little bit and see it from the distance. Now the object is getting there, so now I go to the ear and use the grab brush. Again, I tweak some shape there. Use the smooth brush, and I use the clay strips brush to refine some shape for the ear. Now I want to merge the ears to the head. So before that, let me just save my file here, because I don't want my file crash, so I need to save it first. Alright, so here I just go out from the sculpt mode to object mode and do the same thing for the head as well. So I press the Shift H to hide every object that I'm not selecting on it, and after that I just select my ear and use the boolean modifier, add boolean modifier, and I change it the operation to union, and from the object menu I choose the head. And after that you can see that I still have the old head and move it to another layer. Okay, let's unhide everything. There you go. Now these two objects are merged together. Okay. You guys can see. Now you can freely sculpt the ear and the head at the same time. Just use the clay strips here. I'm just refining the shape for the ear. And again, I don't forget to zoom out to see the overall looks. And let's just make the eyebrow a little bit interesting there. Alright, so I will speed up the video again from here, because it's the same process. So yeah. Alright, so here you go. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe and share, and happy blending and good luck.